The 2nd Congressional District. Joe Courtney and Mike France. For Connecticut Public, I'm Frankie Graziano. This is The Wheelhouse. It's a show that connects politics to the people. We got your weekly dose of politics in Connecticut and beyond right here. Next week, people will head to the polls and cast their vote in the 2nd District for either Congressman Joe Courtney, a Democrat, or Mike France, a Republican in Connecticut's 2nd Congressional District. Today, we'll be talking to both candidates about where they stand on important issues like abortion, child care, and the economy. It's sadly the final show in our series of interviews with political hopefuls in our state. If you missed any of these previous candidate interviews, you're going to want to hear them before Election Day. Listen at ctpublic.org/wheelhouse. Up first, very pleasured to be joined in studio today by Congressman Joe Courtney. Congressman, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Great to be here. Thank you, Frankie.
And you wore your purple to match the set. We appreciate it.
Well, you know, I obviously had some kind of, intuition.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very smart man. Thank you so much for joining us today. You can join the conversation 888-720-9677, 888-720-9677 if you'd like to ask the Congressman a question or Mike France as well. Congressman, I'm going to give you the first question here. Elected in 2006, so could you just highlight one or two accomplishments, maybe in the last few years here?
Sure. So obviously it's a huge part of Connecticut, very diverse economy. When I was first elected, the one big piece of the district obviously had been struggling. It had just survived a near-death experience with base closing at the largest military installation in New England with Groton Sub Base, and the employment level at Electric Boat was on a steep decline. It was 28,000 in the 1990s, and by the early 2000s, it dropped to roughly about 8,000. If you fast forward to today, it's now 23,000 strong. We just cut the ribbon on a new microgrid facility at Subbase that's going to, really strengthen its enduring mission to make sure that it's resilient in case there was a reason why the outside grid couldn't supply power to the Subbase. Again, I've been on the Sea Power Subcommittee now for 18 years. I was chair for 4 years, ranking Democrat today. And this, particularly in the last 2 years, been really working on the new security agreement, AUKUS,
yes,
which is between Australia, UK, and US. And, we made huge progress last year with legislation that authorized sale of Virginia-class submarines to Australia and also to allow foreign nationals to come onto the base for joint training. We've had 3 classes of Australian enlisted and naval officers graduate down at Sub School in Groton, and that's going to keep coming. I mean, the connection between the 2nd Congressional District and the nation of Australia is a lot stronger than I think people understand right now, and it's going to deepen.
With AUKUS in mind, and obviously pacing, because I know you want to probably, in a perfect world, you'd like to deliver 2 subs a year. Major production hub, as we mentioned, for the U.S. Navy. You touted the relationship that you have with General Dynamics and Electric Boat, but there are logistical challenges, as we know, a lot of them spurred by the pandemic. So are you comfortable, based on these delays that have now been announced too by the company, and be able to deliver Virginia and, of course, the first Columbia class? Are you confident that we'll be able to keep up pace?
So I'm very confident in Electric Boat. I mean, when they CEO talked about this at a investors call the other day, I mean, she pointed out that actually EB's outpacing the rest of the submarine industrial base. Their big partner down in Virginia, Huntington Ingalls, is struggling a lot more in terms of the replacement hiring caused by the Great Retirement during COVID. We have an outstanding job training program in Eastern Connecticut, which I worked with then Secretary of Labor, Tom Perez, to get funding into Eastern Connecticut. It's an accelerated job training program, particularly for the metal trades, called the Manufacturing Pipeline Initiative. It's gotten national awards. And again, they've hit their hiring targets the last 2 years, 5,300. Last year, the biggest in the history of a 120-year-old company. They've done 3,000 so far this year. If you look up on their website today, it's 886 job openings. So they're still recruiting, and the retention rates are terrific. Again, we've got to get the investment into the supply chain.
Is that where the Congress is going to help too? And I know the supply chain, but also people, and trying to make sure that you can try to keep the pipeline going and maybe find some federal funding for it as well?
Yeah, we are finding federal funding.
Okay.
I mean, the Navy now, because Congress has actually now created a whole new line item on the SIB, the submarine industrial base, that's separate from procurement. We're seeing dollars go into MPI, the pipeline program, as well as actually into now K through 12 schools are getting into the action. We cut a ribbon up in Thompson, Connecticut at Turtle Lot High School for a new welding.
Turtle Lot, yes.
A new welding lab, and same thing in Westbrook. I mean, these are the far ends of the district, but you're seeing not only the great trade schools that we have in Eastern Connecticut, but comprehensive high schools now are getting into what they call career pathway programs to really help kids, get exposure, at least the opportunity to, learn how to get into welding programs and, other sort of metal trades. And it's actually, again, I think we're doing a great job in this state. I'm on the Education and Workforce Committee. That's my other hat that I wear down in Washington. And, the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, who's a graduate of trade school in Connecticut, Wilcox Tech in Meriden, he has been a strong supporter through the Career Connected High School program to again, give these kids an opportunity, not just to get a job, but a career.
I know that somebody you've come across in your travels is Beth Bai, and somebody that we work with when we're talking about not K through 12, but 0 to 5 in Connecticut. And she and the Office of Early Childhood has labeled Eastern Connecticut as a child care desert. Obviously, you're going to need child care if you're going to go work on some subs or whatever kind of work you're going to do there, especially if you want to enhance that pipeline. So in this state, we always rely on state funding to take care of it, but after the pandemic, you're talking about maybe $150 million, something like that, for early childhood. So where, if any place, can Congress step in to try to help out?
Well, I think Beth would remind you that, actually a lot of the state funding actually originates in Washington with the Child Care Block Grant that Connecticut receives, and then that's distributed to the great programs that are out there. I mean, there's other ways that we can, expand capacity here in the state. Number one, the Block Grant, which has struggled in the budget process, needs to be expanded. And that's not just sort of, wishful thinking or feel good. I mean, the employer community is getting into the act in terms of supporting that type of initiative, as well as giving employers tax credits for actually creating their own on-site daycare programs. When my kids were growing up, my wife worked at St. Francis Hospital. They had a fantastic on-site daycare program.
Lego has one up in your district, right?
And Westview Nursing Home, way up in the quiet corner. So this tax credit and it's a bipartisan bill, which I have signed on to, would again give employers more incentive and resources to
what are we talking in terms
out.
of like if the money's enhanced here? What are we talking about kind of dollars? Do you have any idea?
So I mean, roughly it's about a 50% credit. And again, it's I think employers right now have gotten religion about the need for affordable, high quality child daycare. That's how they're going to recruit. We're in an economy in Connecticut where we have a lot of job openings.
Congressman Courtney, people in your district and across the entire state have been impacted by the fentanyl crisis, really just drugs and prescription drugs in general. And I've had the occasion to be down in your district and talk to people from Norwich about it. Vanessa Roberts Avery, a U.S. attorney, recently said overdose deaths due to fentanyl intoxication have become a devastating part of the fabric of Connecticut and our nation. How's Congress working to address this?
So I actually got community project funding for the Norwich Opioid Task Force to set up a recovery coach program, which is, really just a brilliant model that coordinates with the Norwich Police Department to really intercept, people who've experienced overdoses, right at the emergency room, or even sometimes responding on the calls directly. And we saw a 30% reduction in overdose reported in the Norwich community, which was hard hit, no question about it. That's happening in New London as well with the Ledgelight Public Health District that's there. So there's really good people doing really good work on the ground. I mean, we also need to obviously zoom out and really look at the supply that's coming into the country. And one of the things that we did this Congress finally was get a Homeland Security budget that is giving equipment at the border that can detect fentanyl, which is a very densely concentrated substance, as I'm sure you know. And the old X-ray machines just weren't working. The new technology, it's like a car wash that you're driving through, and they've already now upped and increased the number of people trying to smuggle fentanyl into the country, which by and large comes by vehicle and at the ports of entry. And I was down in El Paso in February where the customs enforcement guys were sort of walking us through that whole process. They need more people and more equipment down there to do their job, and we did take a big step.
I was going to say, do you think the bipartisan bill would have helped that? Because you guys are getting a lot of flack from the other side of the aisle about people coming in here,
Sure.
and you mentioned about coming through vehicles as
well.
well.
Yeah, I mean, the bipartisan bill also addressed tightened up the asylum eligibility that's there, but it also was talking about more capacity down there in terms of doing their job. I have a nephew who works for the Border Patrol in Arizona, and these are really committed public service. They're actually, and they understand, a lot of the struggles that people who are, showing up at the border are living through. But, we have a duty to have an enforceable border. I mean, I think that's a fundamental task of government.
Another place I know you care about on the home front is so much with the Navy and the U.S. Coast Guard in your district, but some issues with the United States Coast Guard with at least how they've addressed sexual assault. And we've had the occasion to hear from U.S. Coast Guard Academy cadets and ensigns about what's happened on campus. And there's a lot of concern about it not being addressed. Operation Fouled Anchor. How have you responded to this news, and what are you doing to ensure that measures are taken?
Sure. So being on armed services, we actually have all the military academies except for the Coast Guard because they fall under the Transportation Committee. But a number of years ago, we passed in the defense bill a provision called Safe to Report that allows victims of sexual assault or harassment to actually bring it to the attention of the academy without sort of getting themselves in the hot seat of the fact that maybe they were past curfew or had some other issue. And this year, the Safe to Report bill, which I co-sponsored on a bipartisan basis with a number of members, actually was included in the Coast Guard Reauthorization Act. And when we go back in town on November 12th, we're going to be very focused in terms of trying to get that across the finish line. That was one of the biggest complaints that we heard from victims of assault and harassment was just that they were afraid that they could damage their Coast Guard career, just because that, sometimes these situations are a little more complicated. And, if nothing else, we should have Coast Guard cadets on par with West Point and Annapolis and Colorado Air Force Academy, and that's what my bill would do.
If you have a question for Joe Courtney, you can give us a call, 888-720-9677. Also ask one of Mike France, who comes on afterwards. One thing that we're really lucky about here at Connecticut Public is the great feedback that we get from our listeners. We had about 750 people fill out this survey where they talked about election issues that they care about and they'd like local media to pay attention to. So one of the big things that people wanted to talk about was measures to reduce carbon emissions and invest in cleaner forms of energy. How is Congress working to do that? How are you working to do that?
Sure. So the Inflation Reduction Act, which passed in late 2022, we're seeing the implementation now really taking hold. I was in Coventry yesterday at the high school taking questions from the students. They were great questions, I got to tell you. But, on the way there, I was sharing with them that if you drive on 44 and 31, there's a dairy farm out there, High Tone Farms.
Bread and Milk Road over there.
That's right. The Paracchio family, who's operated it since the 1940s, they just installed a anaerobic biodigester, which is...
Say that 10 times. Anaerobic biodigester. Okay, we got it.
Which takes the manure and basically puts it in this oven, and you can see it from the road. It's like this sort of bubble that is behind the barn there, and they cook it, basically, and use the methane gas to convert into electricity. So when it went live, which it did either earlier this year or late last year, it now is generating electricity that can power 600 homes. So it creates a revenue stream for the farm, which helps them be sustainable. and also removes methane gas emissions, which is definitely a carbon emission that can actually be even more intense than fossil fuels. So, I mean, you're seeing, particularly in the agriculture community, opportunities because of that law to get more renewable energy, solar panels installed in a big way. Those programs were always oversubscribed, and now, we've really created some space and headroom for that. So, I think, and that is just one sector, agriculture, that I think the law is helping. I think, obviously the growth of EVs and hybrids, which, again, the tax credits that were passed as part of that is going to, again, I think help sort of shift the composition of our transportation fleet that's out there. The post office, those trucks are now getting converted to EV, so that, sometimes you've been behind it in traffic, you can sort of see a little bit of fumes coming out of there. And it's going to take a while, though. And in the meantime, there's no question, fossil fuels are still going to be around for a while. And we need to, again, do what we can to mitigate and create resiliency to deal with that transition period, which down at Avery Point at University of Connecticut, they actually have a whole sort of school or college that deals with environmental resiliency.
I've only got about 2 minutes left, so I want to squeeze 2 questions in because I really want you to address reproductive rights.
Yeah. So again, I am a strong supporter of women and doctors having the control to make these very difficult decisions. When I was in the General Assembly, I voted for the bill back in 1991 that codified Roe versus Wade. At the time, there was, we saw danger signals with the Webster Supreme Court case. Fast forward to today, I mean, obviously Dobbs completely capsized Roe v. Wade, and we're seeing the fallout with a whole variety of ways. There's the Women's Health Protection Act, which the Democrats brought to the floor with Republican support, by the way, at the end of the last Congress, which we passed, which would basically, by statute, codify Roe v. Wade. This issue is going to be front and center in Congress, whether it's the Democrats are in control or the Republicans are in control. In the last Congress, with the Republicans in control, they brought 4 bills to the floor that, tightened even more women's ability to make those choices. So, the notion that this is just a state's issue is just, if you read the case, it didn't say that, Dobbs. And number 2, you just sort of look at what Congress has done since Dobbs was handed down. This is an issue that's going to be front and center in Washington.
Last question here. This is kind of inspired by Paul Herndson, who's an academic at the University of Connecticut. Thinking about the House can go either way here in this election. Say Democrats are able to take back control from Republicans. How are you going to work with the other side to make sure that maybe some of those bills that they're working on can get on the floor if it's something that can get bipartisan support? No,
it's a great question because, I mean, looking at where we are a week out, it's going to be razor thin majority either way. And at some point, this is about math. You just have to find a way to sort of reach across the aisle to get bills that actually can really move. When I was in Hartford, I was voted Democrat most admired by Republicans in a Connecticut magazine poll. I chaired the public health committee because my feeling is, everybody was sent to the assembly and has a constituency, and they should at least have a chance to bring their ideas and amendments to the floor. I have the highest bipartisan index from the Lugar Institute out of Georgetown University in the delegation. And as chair of the Sea Power Subcommittee, I had great working relationship with my Republican colleagues. So, I mean, I have a track record, honestly, that is not just rhetoric. That I get it. This is not a debate club. You really have to get results, and if you're going to get results, then you have to at least try to reach across the aisle.
From Connecticut Public Radio, this is The Wheelhouse. I'm Frankie Graziano. You've been listening to Democratic candidate Congressman Joe Courtney, the incumbent since 2006 in Connecticut's 2nd District. Thank you so much for talking with us today on the
pleasure,
show.
Frankie.
Great to have you on.
Yep.
After the break, we're going to be joined by Congressman Courtney's opponent, Republican Mike France. Have a question for him? You can join the conversation, 888-720-9677, 888-720-9677.
Support comes from Eastern Connecticut State University. Join them on November 9th for their open house. Explore majors, meet current students, and engage with professors committed to your success. Register at easternct.edu/visit.
Are you passionate about public media? Connecticut Public is looking for new members to join our Community Advisory Board. Represent the interest of our viewers, listeners, and readers, and help us gather feedback about our programming. Email us your contact information at audiencecare@ctpublic.org and join us in making a difference.
We are in the final stretch of this historic election season. Former President Trump and Vice President Harris are making their last big push before it all comes to a head on November 5th. I'm Scott Detrow. Join us for live special coverage of Election Night 2024 from NPR News. We will bring you the latest as the polls close and the vote totals roll in, with the context and analysis you need to stay informed.
Listen Tuesday night beginning at 8. Support for arts and culture reporting on Connecticut Public Radio comes from Yale Institute of Sacred Music, the Hartford Symphony Orchestra, and Blythewald Mansion Gardens and Arboretum. Listen for reports on Morning Edition and All Things Considered.
This is the Wheelhouse from Connecticut Public Radio. I'm Frankie Graziano. This hour, we're talking to the candidates. Talking to candidates from Connecticut's 2nd Congressional District. We just heard from Congressman Joe Courtney. Now I'm joined by his challenger, Mike France, somebody I got to speak to a couple of years ago who's challenging Joe Courtney again. Mr. France, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
It's great to be here.
Great to have you on. And folks, if you have a question for Mike France, join the conversation, 888-720-9677. I want to give you a basic one to start off here. Why are you running for a seat here in Congress?
I think what it comes down to is serving the people. And what I've looked at in my entire life is both in uniform and out has been a call to serve. And I looked at the time that I was serving locally, and I saw how government is supposed to work, moved on to the state legislature. But I looked at the direction of our country, and I think the direction is going the wrong way. When I look at two main issues that I hear from people as I go around the district, principally is dealing with the economy and immigration at the border. It's the consequence of those. And really the families are talking about, how do I afford to feed my family, pay my electric bill? Very basic things that inflation caused by the policies administration have caused. And then the border, it's really the concern about crime, the safety of their family, and fentanyl coming across the border.
Betty in Voluntown had a comment for us. Thank you, Betty, for submitting your comment. The 2nd District has a lot of folks and signage that is derogatory towards the current president. She said she's concerned about the partisanship in this country. You said that the country's going the wrong way. Can we talk about unity? Is that something that you can talk about, or is that something that you want to promote here in this time of polarized politics?
I think Betty hits right on the head that we are seeing a very polarized country. I think the media has a lot to do with that and how they choose to cover the election. But I think the key to it is the people who we elect need to work together. And what I think I learned, both serving locally and in the legislature, is everything's about relationship. If you cannot build a relationship, then you cannot be successful. And I was able to do that in the legislature. I was able to do that in my town council with the members of the other party to come to consensus and agreeing on what the problems we're trying to solve and then finding solutions that work for everybody.
We asked Congressman Courtney earlier about sub production in Groton, a city in the district, major manufacturing hub for the U.S. Navy. If elected, what are you going to do to try to support Virginia and Columbia-class submarine production? And could you work, more importantly, with Democrats to kind of get that done?
I think the key thing is, why are we not delivering? And we have not delivered 2 submarines per year for 6 years, starting in 2019. And unfortunately, I don't believe my opponent actually understands why. And the reason I say that is he's been on other radio shows basically saying, well, the blame is COVID. Well, the problem is it started in 2019, which means something happened before that to cause us to only deliver 1. I've got over almost 30 years of submarine acquisition experience, both in public shipyards. My last tour in the Navy was a supervisor of shipbuilding, representing the program manager on site for delivery of the combat system on Virginia-class submarines. So I have an understanding both from serving on them as well as working on them in a way that my opponent just doesn't understand. And I think the key is another aspect that isn't really talked about is maintenance of our submarine fleet. We are asking Electric Boat to do submarine overhauls, which are normally done in our public shipyards. that takes away resources, takes away manpower, takes away a dry dock for an extended period of time. Those are all resources that could be used for new construction and would be very helpful in order to getting us back on track.
22 Virginia-class submarines delivered by Electric Boat General Dynamics, I think since 2004, and 5 since 2021. Told by Electric Boat that the first Columbia-class should be delivered sometime in 2028 or 2029. I asked the congressman also about the eastern part of the state really being a child care desert as defined by Beth Bay and the Office of Early Childhood. It's something that you're going to want to see if you want to support work in the district. What can you do to support child care?
I think the biggest thing there is working with the state, because the state is actually one who regulates that work, and then providing an opportunity for people to be successful in that endeavor. You need to identify where those places are, because it's not necessarily across the entire second district. Could be particular towns, could be New London and Norwich and other more urban areas that have a challenge with that. But finding and identifying where that problem exists, working with the state to figure out why people aren't coming into providing that service, and then working with the state to resolve that issue along the way.
One of the issues that folks wanted to talk about when we did our survey, again, 750 people, thank you guys so much for responding. Reproductive rights, top of mind. It was in our top 5, so to speak. So Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade in 2022. States across the country limiting access to abortions. Should Congress get in the way of a decision between a person and their doctor?
I do not believe, as a constitutional republic, that the federal government has a role in this. And I've always said, unfortunately, the Supreme Court decided differently. It always should have been a state issue. And the state of Connecticut, in 1990, they essentially codified Roe v. Wade, and that law has remained unchanged since then. That is what I believe. I believe in the principles of our country, and that the states are sovereign, and that's where those decisions are made, because that's where the people have the most influence over what's happening.
Should any lawmaker, I should have asked that a better way, I said federal lawmaker, but should any lawmaker get in the way of a decision between a person and their doctor?
Once again, I believe that is an issue for the state legislature and the people they represent, and clearly in the state of Connecticut, the law has been that way for over 30 years, and I've seen no effort in the legislature while I was there for 8 years of even a proposal to change that. That is certainly not my priority. My priority is more in the economy and helping families be able to live their lives and feed their families.
One thing you've had to address in recent weeks is this post that you had on social media. I think it's been deleted, but about a Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Post included a link to a video from an oncologist about how to perform like a self-exam, as well as a photo of your head and shoulders and top of a shirtless man's torso, holding a sign that read, "Don't know how to check your breasts? I can help." Do you have any response to voters who feel like it was problematic, or maybe they think like it trivialized the issue?
Well, I think the point was to raise awareness on a very serious disease. And for my family, it's very personal. My mother-in-law, thankfully, had early diagnosis of breast cancer and lived a very long life because of that. And the intent of that was to raise awareness. And what my team did is found a very successful ad campaign from a women's magazine in Australia. And it was very effective. We're here now talking about it over a month later and raising awareness about breast cancer awareness and early detection. I think that was the key to why we chose that, and the ad was up, and clearly it was effective because we're still talking about it and trying to raise awareness about a serious disease that affect women and families.
It's sorry to hear about your mother-in-law. I hope she's getting the care that she needs.
Oh, absolutely did. Absolutely did.
Policy is one way to draw awareness to various health issues. I think one way that you and Congressman Courtney had a back and forth around that issue was a vote that you had in 2016. Can you talk to us about that? This was pointed out to by Lisa Hagen as well in her article covering the debate, voting against a bill about the state legislature that would require insurance to cover 3D mammograms. Can you address that for us?
Absolutely. And it came down to a very simple thing. It was a mandate on our local municipalities. I voted in favor of the funding for this when I serve on appropriations. I supported the bill. I worked to remove the municipal mandate. They did not, and therefore I voted against it. It is a simple thing where policies should be funded. If the state legislature or the federal government is going to pass a policy that's a great idea, it needs to be funded by that entity. In this case, my towns were independently funded for their insurance, and it would have incurred a significant increase in cost that was not funded. After failing to remove the municipal mandate, I voted against the bill on the floor, but I support the effort. I think the science shows that that is a very effective way for early detection and is critical, frankly, for success in identifying the disease and providing early treatment for women.
We got a question from Alan in Southington. Thank you so much to Alan for reaching out to us today. He wants to know whether or not you could stand with President Donald Trump at this time. And it's a time where you have John Kelly coming out, the former chief of staff, and of course Mark Milley, chairman of the Georgia Chiefs, I believe, coming out and questioning his fitness for president. Can you support Donald Trump?
What I support is my country. I've done that since I raised my hand over 40 years ago to join the Navy. So I put my country first. And when I look at policies across the country, we look at 4 years ago, what did we have? We had a border that was secure. We had an economy that worked for everybody and peace around the world. And now we have exactly the opposite because of the policy decisions that have happened over the last 4 years. That is what I look to. I don't become loyal to any one man, but I look at what the direction of our country is, what the policies that were invoked, and then I look at how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be Congress that actually drives the agenda. It's supposed to be the strongest branch of government. And unfortunately, too many times, Congress has deferred to the executive branch or the administrative organizations for writing law. I think Congress needs to take back its authority. I think it needs to pass a budget, which it hasn't done in almost 30 years. Those are the things that Congress needs to do and has failed to do. And my opponent really has nothing to say about those kinds of things, where Congress needs to represent the people and not have this continuing executive order after executive order, and then the next administration comes in and undoes everything that the previous administration did. That is not helpful for our country and is not upholding or serving the people.
It was Charles Savage, I think, that covered this in the New York Times. It's a part of the conversation, right, where people are, with your military experience, too, I think a big concern you've heard about fascism and people addressing and maybe comparing Donald Trump to a fascist. But I think people are concerned about nationalism at this time and particularly maybe using troops on domestic soil. So as somebody with military experience, could you support something like that to maybe deal with a protest or something like that, number one? And then could you yourself vote for Donald Trump?
The issue with military is that's the post-Civil War, actually, that the military is not allowed to operate within the continental United States. That does not mean the National Guard can't be called up, but that has to be called up by the governor, not by the President of the United States. And so, once again, it is a constitutional republic where the states are sovereign, and the governors decide if they need to call up a National Guard to maintain order. And that is also in support with the local police department. So it is not something that I would anticipate having the President of the United States declare, because there's no authority to do that.
Former President Donald Trump proposing tax cuts. I think we have a deficit now that's ballooned up to like $35 trillion. So do you think that that's a concern? Do you think our deficit will keep going up? Can you support these tax cuts, especially as somebody who's a fiscal conservative?
I think the principle is we need to get back to regular order. And what that means is there's 12 appropriations bills, once again, that have not been passed in almost 30 years. And so what we've done is continuing resolutions, and effectively, for the people that don't understand that, is essentially authorizing spending at the current level, regardless of whether there's revenue to support that spending. And unfortunately, that's what we've seen. The most recent budget that was proposed by President Biden was $2 trillion in deficit at proposal. These are the practices going back, as in almost 30 years, that have ballooned this debt. In the time my opponent's been in office, it's over quadrupled from about $8.5 trillion to over $36 trillion. And what we need to do is get back to passing budgets that are balanced, passing budgets that live within the revenue that we have coming in. I've done that as a finance committee chair in my own town, and I did that serving on the appropriations committee, ultimately as the ranking member working with the Democrat chair.
Last question coming up. It comes from a professor within UConn's Department of Political Science. This is Paul Hernson.
The election in the 2nd District could decide which party holds the majority in the House, and that party will decide which bill gets a vote on the House floor and have any chance of becoming law. Given your party leadership opposes some of your issue positions and some things voters in the 2nd District care deeply about, why should the voters support you?
He's essentially looking at the fact that if you get elected to Congress, it's probably going to be a situation where the Republicans continue to carry the majority. So can you work with Democrats on the other side of the aisle to get their bills onto the floor? And if anybody in your caucus has any particular issues with your bills, can you kind of push them to get your issues across? Just help the people of the 2nd District, I guess, overall is what
Sure.
he's asking.
No, and I've demonstrated that in 11 years in elected office, working with my Democrat counterparts, starting with my time as chair of the Finance Committee in my town, working with my Democrat counterpart there to bring budgets forward that serve the people. When I was in the state legislature, ranking member of the Government Administration's Election Committee, as well as the Appropriations Committee, I worked with both chairs successfully to come to consensus on what problems we were trying to solve, getting bills through and working together, and built a great relationship. Once again, everything is about relationships. If you cannot build a relationship and have a conversation with somebody, you're unable to be persuasive. And that is really what has to happen. And we need more of that in Congress. And I have a demonstrated history of doing that over 11 years of elected office.
From Connecticut Public Radio, this is The Wheelhouse. I'm Frankie Graziano. You've been listening to Republican Mike France, candidate for a seat in Connecticut's 2nd Congressional District. Mike, thank you so much for coming up here today.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate having you on. After the break, we're going to unpack some of what we just heard from the candidates with our panel of experts. And a reminder to our listeners, Connecticut Public has you covered for all you need to know about the 2024 election. Check out our voter guide at ctpublic.org/election for details about the candidates and the issues and how you can cast your ballot. It's also available in Spanish. Go to ctpublic.org/vota, ctpublic.org/VOTA. You can join the conversation, 888-720-9677 if you want to talk to our panelists after this message.
False claims about the 2024 election are expected to get worse after Election Day.
To claim that they could not have seen it coming if there is post-election violence is absolutely irresponsible. We can all see it coming.
How social media companies are preparing for a deluge of misinformation after votes are cast. That's on the next On Point.
Listen this morning at 10.
Coming up in the next episode of the Colin McEnroe Show, for most political campaigns, music becomes somewhat important, whether it's I Like Ike or Bill Clinton playing the saxophone on Arsenio Hall's show. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. And we'll talk about that and the way musicians sometimes get upset.
Listen this afternoon at 1. Support comes from the Hart School.
When disinformation and misinformation have become normalized, it's critical to have a news source you can trust. This election season, make Connecticut Public a part of your informed choice for local and national news. Accurate, factual content generated by real journalists, not AI. Connecticut Public. Real journalists, real research, real facts, real reporting. Really. To learn more, visit ctpublic.org.
This is The Wheelhouse from Connecticut Public Radio. I'm Frankie Graziano, joined today by candidates we had today, Connecticut's 2nd Congressional District, incumbent Democrat Congressman Joe Courtney and Republican opponent Mike France. And now we're going to unpack everything that they said with our panel of experts, including Paul Schwanier. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So many years at the day, even presiding over debates with these two gentlemen. Thank you for coming on the show, Paul.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And, of course, Charles Venator Santiago. He works at El Instituto at the University of Connecticut. Joint appointments at the Department of Political Science and El Instituto. Charles, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. Hey, Paul, folks, if you want to give us a call, 888-720-9677. If you want to give us a call, 888-720-9677. Paul, I just want to start off with you. You've had the occasion to hear it from these candidates so many times, I would imagine, over the last few years. And now they're running against each other for a second time. Is there anything in particular that was different today or that stood out to you? Remarkable, maybe?
I think you did a good job of peeking at what these candidates are, essentially. I've always seen Joe Courtney he's sort of like a lawmaker from a different era. You never get the bomb throwing. He sounds very pragmatic as he ticks through the issues that you raise. electric boat, and the submarine production, and creating the jobs for that through the job training program, through childcare and providing tax credits so employers have the ability. So he seems very pragmatic in his approach, and he has shown a willingness to work, with Republicans and take some ideas. And I think, with Mike France, I think he, essentially is a very ardent fiscal conservative, and he talked almost like a constitutional professor in that, it is the role of Congress that should set the agenda as you try to, pin him down on his opinions as the top of the ticket of Donald Trump. He wanted to return to what he sees, as essential, is that Congress sets the agenda, that Congress actually passes budgets rather than continuing resolutions. I think that, the problem for Mr. France is, that's tough for the average voter to relate to. It's sort of pedantic and such. But I think the candidates you saw were pretty, was a revealing interviews, and I think people who listened got a good idea of who they are.
For the subs question, you have to be a policy wonk to generally understand it, or a military man as Mike France is the policy wonk like Joe Courtney. But essentially, the issue is that they just can't keep up with production for 2 subs a year to deliver that anymore. Is that essentially the issue? And how much can Congress really do to kind of solve that? Solve for it, sorry.
Yeah. I think, what you saw with Courtney is they have done a good job in Eastern Connecticut, and through some of the, federal help for having a jobs pipeline fitting into electric boat. What they appear not have done as well is to make sure the support was there for the subcontractors, for the supply line, because you can have all the workers you want at EB, but if those kind of requirements are not being met, you're not going to get sub built on time. So, I think the solution Congress must is try to, extend those kind of programs to, to meet all the needs. So, you provide the supply lines, provide the subcontractors to make that, possible. Representative France pointed out they also do maintenance work at Electric Boat, and there's been some debate, should they just focus on construction? And there are other naval yards that can do the maintenance job, and that, EB maybe wants, all of that pie, and that's not efficient. I think that's a fair argument to have in this election.
Charles.
I really appreciate Courtney's sort of almost like a mayor attitude. He's like as Paul said, very pragmatic and addressing issues at every level. I felt that Mike France was sort of walking a thin line here in Connecticut, because it seems like he wants to align himself with Trump, but Connecticut is not necessarily the place to align himself with Trump. So I was a little concerned with some of his answers.
It's funny that you asked that. Let's actually go to a live call. Frank from Griswold. Frank, from Frankie to Frank here. Frank, help me understand with something that you might have been frustrated with today. What in particular was it, and which candidate?
More Mr. France. And he did state some good, policy thoughts and all that, whether I agree or disagree with them. So that was fine. And you just mentioned some just a couple minutes ago. But he didn't really answer your questions, a couple of them.
Is there one in particular you were like, man, I wish he answered that?
Well, yeah, like how he really is feeling or aligning with Trump is particularly, I think, important at this point to actually just answer. And I know it's, the death toll for him if he answers the wrong way for Trump's sake if Trump wins. So I get that. But, you got to have the guts to just, have some conviction and stick with it. And I'm a military person. I was in the Army for 33 years. So I
Thank you for your service, Frank.
Thank you so much. And, thank you for his service also. But the thing is, again, these are politicians, but they're serving us. So, you got to have the guts to really say what you really think and not just dance around it and start answering kind of a tangent question to what you asked them.
Thank you so much for calling. Thank you for your service. Have a great day, Frank.
Thanks, Frankie. Bye.
5 candidate forum interviews here. We've talked to the Republicans. All 5 have said that they're going to vote for Donald Trump. Can you divorce yourself? Is it possible to do that? Maybe it's not in order to get votes, Charles.
The sense that we're getting is that it's not. A lot of politicians are afraid of the repercussions, particularly with the voting base, and because of the elections are so close, everything matters. Every vote counts.
During my conversation with Mike France, I mentioned the news of former President Donald Trump's long-serving chief of staff, John Kelly, calling him dangerous, fascist. Fascist, as we know, a label that people don't like to hear. So I know that that's kind of activating on both sides. But nonetheless, John Kelly said that. I asked him if he could support him. He said that he will continue to do that. Are you seeing that this is something that now is going to spread more across to more voter bases? Do you think that it's not just necessarily something that people that listen to the show are going to say, hey, is he answering the questions or not? Do you think this will impact President Donald Trump's ability to get elected? Not just Mike France.
Well, I think that the race is so thin that President Trump and former President Trump and others are trying to mobilize new voters or voters who have been generally sort of outside of the elections process. And Trump is appealing to sort of radical conservative right-wing voters.
Joint appointment at UConn and the Department of Political Science and El Instituto. Wondering what you're hearing from Latino voters in the 2nd District this year. Are there any specific issues that are driving strong emotions during this election cycle?
So we just finished a survey for the state of Connecticut.
And we are going to dive into that thing on election night. Give us a quick little... I can't wait. So you're going to see Charles on election night with us here. No, but go ahead. So give us some quick ones here.
So the two top issues are the economy and inflation. People are complaining that it's too hard or it's too expensive to live in Connecticut, and housing access. Those are the two by far issues. And I didn't see much of that in this conversation between Joe Courtney and Mike France. There was a little bit of discussion or allusion to the economy and inflation, but what about transportation access? I mean, you can't do a job score in that part of Connecticut without proper transportation or available housing. And those seems to be sort of underlying issues that they should address at some point.
In particular, we talked about the tax cut with Mike France. We also talked about just getting more support from the federal, or at least trying to work with the state government on childcare. Jobs are so important in this district. And obviously, if you don't have jobs, that's when you start to get into a little bit of an issue where we start to see some of the drug use and the prescription drug use. Obviously, we know that past injuries have something to do with that. But the economy is so important in this district, I guess is the point, Paul. So help us understand if the candidates kind of dug at that at all today.
Yeah. Before I get to that, just briefly, I want to what Frank called about. I'm from Griswold too, Frank. So I guess we're sort of neighbors. I think on a couple of issues, you did see France not want to really kind of directly go at it. The question of the abortion issue, and you had Courtney saying, hey, this is something that Congress is going to face one way or the other. The Democrats are going to try to codify Roe versus Wade, and there's certainly going to be some movement among the more conservative wing of the Republican Party to put some kind of federal restrictions on abortion. So you're going to have to take a stand and look like Mike France didn't want to. He sort of said, well, it's a state's issue. But I think Courtney is right. It's also going to be a congressional issue. And also that ties into your question about jobs, in that Courtney has some very specific ideas about expanding access to child care through federal help, through tax credit programs to encourage employers to provide child care and get a tax credit for doing so, because that's going to be key to get a lot more people able to get the jobs and the jobs they want. Where, I'm afraid, Mike France didn't, I think he's, at heart sort of a libertarian and doesn't see it as a role of government to help you get child care. That's kind of your issue, I think, essentially, but he couldn't directly say that. So he kind of danced around your question on that. And so, I think Frank raised a good point that they should answer these questions.
And it's not necessarily just Mike France, because I think the federal government's kind of thought about that with child care forever. But just looking at this, and this is not to poo-poo the job that Beth Bayh and the governor have done, because I know they've worked so hard on this. But at the same time, they're working as hard as they can because they're not getting the support from the federal government. During the pandemic, there was more money for child care. But now that's gone away, and you still only have about like $150 million on the books, which child care advocates have worked hard to get. So, like, I don't know if the state can really do much to solve this problem.
Yeah, well, I think the federal government's going to have to be a partner, and I think employers are going to have to be a partner. And I think I agree with the congressman that there seems to be more acknowledgement, from the employer sector that, if they want the best workers, if they want workers that are more flexible and ready to move into positions, that's an issue that has to be addressed.
We only got about a couple minutes left. It goes by so fast. Paul, can you give us your final thoughts on the debates today here, or at least the forums that we had?
I think Congressman Courtney, as my colleague here commented, seems to really give specific answers to how he would address problems. And you talked about jobs, and the expansion of electric boat has created a lot of jobs in our 2nd District, Eastern Connecticut. And this is a district that was once very competitive. When Congressman Courtney was first elected in 2006, he won by less than 100 votes. So it was a toss-up district. Francis having a tough time making it such again.
Charles, 15 seconds.
I agree completely with what Paul said. I would like to see also more on the economy and the tax breaks for the wealthy.
That's it for our candidate interview series. Man, it was great. Go back and listen at ctpublic.org. You've been listening to Paul Chenier, recently retired editorial page editor of The Day. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you to Charles Venator Santiago, who you'll see on election night. This show was produced by Chloe Wynn, edited by Robin Doyen-Aiken. Thank you so much to the maestro Dylan Reyes. Listen live on election night Tuesday at 7 o'clock and watch live at ctpublic.org. We'll also be live the morning after. Download the Wheelhouse anytime on your favorite podcast app. I'm Frankie Graziano. This is the Wheelhouse. Thank you for listening.